Hi everyone, I've taken quite a hiatus from YouTube, but I'm back. I've had some issues going on with my jaw, so I wasn't able to do much talking. So I'm going to do a test run to see how things are going today, because I do have a lot to talk to you about. This is part 2. I don't know if I'm on 2 or 3. I think this is part 2 of my professional kit, and we're going to cover foundations, concealers, and primers in this session. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. Obviously, before you're going to put on any type of foundation, you're going to want to use a certain type of primer. Now, it depends on the type of primer I use. I first base it off of what type of skin the client has, meaning do they have oily skin, do they have drier skin, or do they have combination skin. The next thing I go off of is the end result as to which foundation I'm going to be using, like if it's going to be airbrush or a liquid or a cream to a powder finish. So I take all those into consideration when I use my primers. Now, my favorite primers are, this is Mineral Effects by Femme Couture. You can get this at Sally's. If you're a professional makeup artist, you can get a pro card. And this has the exact same consistency that Smashbox primers have. And this was only $6. And the Smashbox primers, I think, are around $30. So you can save a lot of money by using this primer. Don't use this primer if you tend to get really oily skin or if your client gets really oily skin. I also would not use this primer if you're going to do airbrush makeup, because it's very moisturizing and it just doesn't work out with airbrush makeup, in my opinion. So the other primer that I've got is I've been saying Lorac, but I guess they're known as Lorac. And this is the Aqua Prime oil-free, silicone-free, paraben-free, fragrance-free primer. And this has a consistency, it's like a clear consistency, and it dries on your skin. It's kind of a goofy feeling at first, but it dries on your skin and makes a really even canvas and is great for combination skin or oily skin. So that's what I use. And I also can use this with airbrush makeup, as well as cream to powder or liquid. Other primers that we have are tinted primers. This is by Smashbox, Photo Finish, Color Correcting, Balance. This is also oil-free. So if you're someone that tends to get oily, this could work. And it balances different color imperfections in the skin. And then this one is also the same idea. This is Makeup Forever Professional's HD High Definition Primer. It doesn't say on here whether it's oil-free or not, but it's got a less, it doesn't feel very oily on my skin, and it sets pretty quickly. And this is great for under eye areas that I've noticed, like those dark circles. Yes, it looks awkward, it looks green. You can't tell because I've got really bad lighting, but it looks green on your skin, but it actually neutralizes once you put on your concealer and then foundation. So it really helps for under eye problems. Okay, so after you've decided on your primers, the next step would be to conceal. And the concealers that I've been using, I use all sorts, but I kind of go back and forth to what I like, what I don't like, what works, what doesn't work. What I always come back to, though, is good old Maybelline 24-hour concealer. Now, I don't, typically if you're doing it on yourself, you would take it out, dot it, and then I use a brush like this to do back and forth motions and, get coverage. But on a client, you can't do that because that would be unsanitary. So what you would have to do is I put on a latex glove or non-latex if the client has allergies to latex, dot it on my glove, then apply that on their face. And then if I have to get more out, I apply it on a spot on the glove that I haven't used, so you're not contaminating the product, which can be a hassle. But this is a Radiance Booster Pen. Kind of can work as a concealer. This is by Dior. It provides a nice highlight for under this area, but I wouldn't recommend it as a heavier concealer. There's also matte concealers, and if you're in a pinch, these can work as foundation as well. But they're nice because they come in bottles that you can simply squeeze out so the product maintains a sanitary condition in the bottle. And they come in a range of different colors, you know, from light to dark, but it does a good job. It's got some, it's good coverage. But overall, I would recommend the Superstay 24-hour concealer by Maybelline, just because it's cost efficient and does just as good of a job, I think, as some of the high-end concealers. But yeah, next let's move on to our foundations. After you've concealed, I call it spot conceal. Not only do I conceal under areas like under the eyes, but I also conceal areas that tend to get red, like around the nose, right around here. Sometimes people can get red around underneath here, and the lip people can tend to get red on the chin. So spot conceal wherever you see discoloration, and have a light hand. And again, I always use cross strokes. Oops. You know, you're going one way and then cross stroke it the other way. That's just my technique that I think works good. Let's backtrack all the way to the beginning. Before you start any of this, make sure your client's moisturized. Make sure that your skin is not dry. If you can, get your client to exfoliate and start a good skincare routine at least a week before a shoot or before a wedding, at least a month. You need to really get on the ball with your clients about getting their skin in tip-top shape. Makeup is no substitution for poor skincare, and it will show in your pictures. This is, by the way, industry standard Cetaphil moisturizers. Exfoliate and moisturize. I could do a whole rant on that. Next is, let's talk about the different foundations in my kit. I have liquid, airbrush, and cream to powder. Or I always call it like cream to set, because it's not a powder, like, you know, it's not loose. It goes from cream to it sets dry. Liquid foundations, these are by MAC. These come in N and C lines. The C are, you can remember it easily, C for cool. And N's are the warmer shades. And you can get these, I'm not sure what the maximum number is, I want to say maybe 10? I don't know, but like, what I did, instead of buying a whole line, is I bought like the lightest color, a medium color, and then a dark color. So for women of color, you know, this will be a darker color. And you can mix the darker color with the light to customize your foundation. Because every single person that I've worked on has a different skin color. No one's identical. So you really need to work on an individual basis with your clients if you really want to get exact coverage, if that's what you need. So yeah, you can buy a combination of N's and C's, and you know, maybe like one from a low, a medium, and a dark, and then that way you can custom blend all of your foundations. That's if you choose to go with MAC. Also, the product this is called strobe cream. If you find that your foundations are too thick and you don't have enough playtime, mix in some strobe cream and it makes your foundations go on, it thins them out kind of. It's like, you know how there's like paint thinner? That would be kind of like foundation thinner. One other thing I should mention about the MAC, and these are face and body foundations, one thing I should mention is that you don't need much. It's very slippery and you have a lot of playtime, whereas it's not like a long-wear foundation that sets quickly. So you really try to, you know, use less rather than more when you first start out, because it's going to slide all around your face, and you're going to have too much product on if you're not careful with it. Also, with liquid foundations, I use, I call them a stipple brush. It's a MAC 187 brush that I use, and I've tried a cheaper brand. This is Face Secrets, and they actually call it a bronzer brush. But here's where the quality control sets in. If you notice, the brush hairs are very, 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 very fine up here, and then they become much denser towards here. So like, they move around really easy on top, but in the center, they're very dense. You can actually, when you put your finger in the inside of it, you can feel the denseness of the brush. This is a low quality brush, and I'll tell you why. When you put your finger in the middle here, it's not very dense. It's not nearly as dense as the MAC brush. Who knows? And maybe you can get it to work for you, but for me, it hasn't been very successful. The fibers in the center move around much too easy. So you can see what's happening with the brush when I start to move foundation around. It's just pushing it like that instead of blending it into the skin. Whereas the MAC brush, when it moves around, those dense fibers really help evenly distribute the pigment. So I know they're expensive. They're like, I think around $40. Spend the money. I use the heck out of mine, and I haven't had a problem. They will shed it first. All brushes are going to shed. They will shed it first. So you might want to use them, wash them a couple times, or possibly even use them on yourself and then sanitize them, obviously, before using them on a client to avoid that shedding on a client. But you're always going to get shedding, even down the road. You're going to get a couple hairs here and there. That's normal. On to the next liquid foundation. This is Dior. They come in like 10, 20, 30. This is their longwear version. It's called Forever. And to give you an idea, I'm like between a 20 and a 30. In the summer, I'm like between a 30 and a 40. So you can custom blend these. They're probably one of my all-time favorite foundations. They are pricey, so I reserve these for wedding clients or a client on an individual basis rather than a photo shoot, because they are so pricey, and they're excellent foundations. They're great for oily skin, just to let you guys know. Moving on, these are more of a cream foundation, and I want to say they're oil-based, so they will sweat. And I got these from Camera Ready Cosmetics, camerareadycosmetics.com. And this is Graftobian's line. And, oops, I just got a little bit on my hand. And, darn it. And they're organized by, basically, this one's a cool palette, this one's a warm palette, and you can go on their website, and there's going to be a wide range. And again, the whole idea, like, this is for women of color, this end of it. You can custom blend a person's foundation, and you don't use your brush, put it on them, and then dip it back in. That's unsanitary. You get a little, you can use the back of your hand as long as it's been sanitized. I don't recommend doing that. I would recommend I use gloves on my hand, disposable gloves. That way I can scoop out using a sanitized scooper thing, scoop out the foundation, apply a few different dots on my hand, and then throw that disposable scooper out. If you have to go back in, you cannot use that same one. You have to use sanitized tools. That's why disposable tools are great. So I use that on a glove, custom blend, throw out the glove. So these are really nice, though. Again, they're by Graftobian. They're great for high-definition work on photo shoots. They blend seamlessly. They're super creamy, but they don't get very oily, which I like. So Graftobian rocks. This is the other palette that I've got, also from Camera Ready Cosmetics. It's by RCMA, the Professionals Color Process Foundation. Here, I can custom blend pretty much anybody's color using this foundation. It's a little bit harder to apply to the skin because it's not as creamy, but I think it holds up better. I just used this on a shoot that was outside, and it began to snow really bad, and the model's foundation held up beautifully, and I'm really happy that I used this. This works really nice. It takes a long time to custom blend, but it can be worth it. So I guess that's the whole point. When determining your foundation, keep in mind your client's skin type, the purpose. Is it a photo shoot for a model, a huge photo shoot for multiple models? Is it a wedding? Keep in mind your price budget. Also keep in mind the tools that you use to apply it, and use all these things when you're deciding on what to purchase foundation-wise. I hope that this answers some questions regarding foundation. I love this brush by Sephora for the concealer. It's one of their best sellers. It's called their foundation brush, but I just think it's too small. I like bigger brushes. So if you have any questions, PM me. I think that I covered pretty much everything. I know I talked a lot, but I'll be back on the ball since I'm feeling better and my jaw's kind of healing, and I'll be doing more tutorials and reviews and that type of thing. So, and also feel free to check out my website. I'll post a link. I've been working on that as well for my makeup artistry business. So I hope everyone's doing good, and I miss everyone, and thank you also for the warm, kind words that everyone's been sending me, and take care, everyone. Bye.